Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Secret Invasion, I Am Groot Season 2, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, What If Season 2, and What If Season 3, Echo, Deadpool and Wolverine, Agatha All Along, Captain America Brave New World, Daredevil Born Again Season 1, The Thunderbolts, exclamation mark / The New Avengers, and finally Ironheart in her first season, which is most likely, I don't know, I could see them giving a second season too. Yes, this is our, well, let's just say welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for our second of a kind phase review. Yes, we are talking about the MCU Phase 5. It has come, it has gone. In the time of this podcast, a lot of it happened, but there was a big break of my podcast for like a good bit. So it's been Phase 5 a little bit longer than, I'm actually surprised it's been this long because it went by so fast. I feel like just yesterday I sat in the theater to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, but here we are, and it's 15 projects in. I'm going to say off the bat, I didn't see I Am Groot Season 2. It's the one on this whole list. I haven't seen I Am Groot Season 2. Could I go watch it right now and come back to you and do this episode? Yes. Will I? No. I might actually watch it later for comfort, but I'm not going to go back right now because I'm excited to talk about the other stuff. But I'm sure I Am Groot Season 2 is fun. I think the first season was a lot of fun. I covered detail on my bad mic era. I discussed every single episode of the first season in like a 30-minute total episode. So they were all good, but they're all one-offs, and you can put them in the timeline whatever way you want. They're fun. If you actually want to hear me talk about the I Am Groots, I'll talk about seasons 1 and 2 together, since I never talked about I have talked about it. I just literally told you how I talked about it. But we can get back into season 2. I'll put up an episode for season 2, if anything. I think that could be a lot of fun. I just haven't gotten around to watching it. So this is in release order. I don't have a favorite to no favorite. I think actually most of these are winners for me. I'll tell you the one that when we get to it, I don't think was a winner, and I'll give you a little bit of a reason why. I'd say look out for semi-spoilers because we're going to be kind of talking about the movie in one to 4 or 5 sentences. So it might come down to like, well, when that ending happened, then this happened, which means this will probably, So we'll probably be spoiling some things. So spoiler alert for all the projects listed. Just so you know, you've been warned. We're going to go right into it, covering every project in Phase 5, every show, movie in order. So remember, this is not just a recap, it's a reflection. My first one was way too detailed. We're really going down the list to check them off and talk about them fairly quickly. And my goal isn't to be here for over an hour like last time. I'd say hopefully like 25 minutes. And I don't mean to be so focused on time, but only for this show. I know at the beginning of this series of Marvel Maniac, at the very beginning, my episodes were a little long, a little clunky, and my goal is to make them tight so it respects everyone's time. Because nobody wants to sit for an hour listening to somebody rant about something that they're like off topic on, which I kind of am now. But I like to keep you guys in the loop because you mean a lot to me because you listen. So some of these projects I loved and others confused me, okay? But through it all, I kept showing up. Again, now we're here at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and this was the start of, like, I feel like kind of a little bit of a hate train against Marvel. People disliked this movie when it came out. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it nearly as much as anyone. This was promised to be the next big chapter. It's Kang's arrival, like in the MCU on the big screen. We were warned in Loki, and the quantum realm. We know of it, but we've never been in it like that. So that was another big jump. And there's legacy and family dynamics in this movie. Some would call it maybe like a green screen fever dream, and not in a fun way. You know, I can't say I can't change how people feel or think, and I will say that this movie got a lot of hate, and I can't just say it's not right because it's the MC. Like, no matter what I say, everyone is entitled to their opinions. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did. I think in retrospect, the movie probably still might be a little hard to watch because some people, you know, really wanted Kang the Conqueror, like the Kang Dynasty, the Avengers movie that was supposed to happen in, this year. It would have happened by now, and people are pissed that plot didn't get to be sought through. But in my opinion, I think they're going to surprise us, and I just personally think the thing that has been talked about the most is Doctor Doom is going to come in and like destroy that whole Council of Kangs, and I like to believe that that's true. But for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Cassie's arc it should have landed a little bit better, but it didn't quite connect. This movie was kind of ripped apart and put back together a couple times, so I think maybe in this edit we lost her a little bit. Although I still think she's really likable. And the MCU ripple effect. This sets the multiverse stakes, including Kang. But again, shaky foundation. I don't agree with all of the hate. The thing I hated about this movie, you can go back and listen to what I was saying about it. It was the trailers giving everything away. And that there is my biggest problem with a lot of movies these days. Then we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, highly anticipated. What a whiplash. From Quantumania's, some would call a mess, to this. James Gunn gave us an emotional goodbye letter through this movie, and it was an emotional goodbye letter. And Rocket's story broke me in the best way. I feel like everyone got a pretty good, satisfying send-off in this movie. The High Evolutionary was a definite great villain, one of the best villains I've seen in years on screen. Personal beat, the thing that gets me the most and reminded me why I fell in love with the MCU in the first place. Guardians goes there, and it is itself unapologetically. It doesn't feel repetitive. It feels like a continuation, and I think that's what every movie should aspire to do if they're going into their third, fourth, or even fifth movies. Thor, for example, I hope it follows that, not the tone of the movie, but the intention and the full circleness of the characters. Let's be honest, the next Thor movie, which has been announced, probably will be the last one. And I am the type of guy who would be like, let's make 20 Thor movies until he's 90. At that point, Wolverine joke will probably stick forever. We'll see. We will see. I think, but we gotta love the MCU for keeping Thor around, and it makes sense. He's a god. He lives longer. We get to see him see the new saga, kind of like he has seen so much in his life that us as the audience can only imagine over 1,000+ years that he's been alive. Is it 1,000 or is it a couple hundred? I kind of forget. It was. I think it was revealed somewhere in the first two movies. All right, so here we are, our third project of Phase 5, Secret Invasion, Season 1, and probably the final season. Oh, man. The Promise of Paranoia, a grounded spy thriller with Nick Fury front and center. What could go wrong, especially with the groundwork laid in the MCU? With the Skrull, right? What did we get? Well, it felt more like a whisper than a scream. Okay, this isn't going to go on long. I'm not going to write a hate piece on something. Especially, I always say it. Samuel Jackson, I respect him too much. I don't think it was his fault. Same with Emilia Clarke. It just didn't work. That twist didn't work. The Emilia Clarke one at the end. I still want you to go back and watch it for yourself, because maybe you'll love it. And maybe I'm ruining something. If I don't want to ruin something you love, I'm just telling you how I feel about it. I'm very, very lenient on shows and movies in the MCU. If you go back through my catalog, there's not a lot of criticism of things. I've even said I've even said like this is my least favorite Marvel thing. Like I've always said that. I deserve. I mean, Talos deserved better. Good gosh, Agent Hill deserved better, but it's just not what we got, and it tried to be something instead of. It became, you can't erase what happens in the shows, or it just gets even uglier. It's like, oh, everyone didn't like this. This isn't canon anymore. But it did definitely feel like that because, the next movie we went into after this show was the Marvels. And there should have been some connection to that in this. And spoiler alert, there's not. So it introduced some of the strongest headaches, and I'm just still unsure how to fit it in the whole picture. It's the one probably MCU project I feel this way about, and it's not even a race. It's the only one I feel this way about. And I'll say one more thing on it. It's what Ryan Aries says. It's what most people do agree on. The big fans, agree that this should have been an Avengers movie. This plot in the comics is so huge that you at least thought that Disney, with their, in quotes, movie quality, end quotes, TV shows, you think this one would have paid off a little bit better, gotten a couple more actors. Instead, it ruined the character of Rhodey. Learning, actually confirmed that he has been a Skrull since the events of Captain America Civil War, deleting character development that happened throughout the last however many years, but until this happened, like the payoff of him finding that out, it wasn't worth it. And it's something that hopefully they can retcon, and that he was only caught up within like weeks or months, not since Civil War, because that's an actual betrayal of audience trust, in my opinion. Then we have I Am Groot Season 2, short, cute, and that's about it. Honestly, I didn't even watch it yet. I do plan on watching it. If I'm putting out a review, I'm going to watch it. But I didn't plan to cover it deeply at all. But hey, it's canon. It is technically canon. So it's great for the kids. It's not required viewing. Just a breather between the chaos, which sometimes we all could use. So save your I Am Groot seasons maybe for a bad day, because it'll definitely pick you up. They're adorable. Then we had Loki Season 2. Loki Season 2 was my favorite, maybe if not all-time favorite Marvel TV, and one of my favorite Marvel stories in general. It picks up right where the first one left off. One of the best things Marvel's ever made, period. This wasn't just a season. It was like a love letter to time, sacrifice, and purpose. Loki finally finds his glorious purpose, and it wrecked me. I think this is the best of what the shows could do. It brought so much out of a character we deemed evil, and across the course of 12 episodes between seasons 1 and 2, we see him turn around into one of the most memorable, amazing characters, just because of what they put in, and the way his story is fleshed out. It's just so perfect. We covered the whole season in one episode because this was airing in my off period. However, the next show we are covering, even if we go into other show territory, we're going to cover Loki Season 2 every episode. And that's like starting next week, most likely, if not soon. Loki's transformation, it was Shakespearean, to say the best. The final episode, MCU poetry. That's going to pick up in Avengers Doomsday next year. Most likely. I don't see why. It seems like Loki's going to be a pretty big part of this, considering he's at the center of the multiverse, and this is the multiverse saga. The ripple effect in this show keeps the multiverse alive, literally, showing what Phase 5 could be. There was a sacred timeline. There was no multiverse when this show started. So technically, every single thing outside of our 616 universe technically never happened until Loki seasons 1 and 2. So like you go from Avengers Endgame to Loki season 1 and 2, because it's one after the other, cause and effect. The second he leaves, that second Loki leaves and goes on that trajectory, is the moment the multiverse is born. And that is something worth talking a lot more about. I'm kind of like opening my eyes really wide. I'm like, wait a minute, am I right about this? I don't really do that much, but like, I think the multiverse was born when Tony sent everyone back in time, and the first thing that ripped a thread in time was Loki. All meant to happen, apparently. Maybe even Loki was meant to happen because He Who Remains has a big plan. We could talk more about that when we get into Loki, but I like to imagine that Loki is the reason that all these multiversal shenanigans have really even started. That kind of pulls everything together in a nice bow, if you ask me. The ripple effect of Loki keeps the multiverse alive, literally, and it showed what Phase 5 could be. Number 6, the Marvels. Now, this one was a lot more fun than people gave it credit for, in my opinion. Kamala stole the show, and I watched Miss Marvel not long before it, and I am a fan of this combination of characters, including Monica, who's very layered, very good character development from Kamala and Monica going in through the TV series. Unfortunately, I will say this, and I'm disappointed because if they got it done right, they wouldn't be doing this. But Marvel officially stated after Ironheart, the TV shows are going to be more private viewing. They won't affect the overall story after Ironheart, and the movies will be the big events that push things forward, and they're the tent poles of the series. So no longer will there be a Loki that is needed to be centered around to make Doomsday, which is sad because if they kept the shows going and were like really successful with them, we'd be getting more epic character driven masterpieces, which I know we have a few of in here, including WandaVision. However, if that's what we have to do to get the general audience back on course and on board for the MCU, we need to do that. And I guess I can agree with that and respect that move in terms of keeping people around, bringing new people in, and keeping this franchise alive. And just because I loved everything or mostly everything doesn't mean everyone else did, and that's okay. The musical planet in the Marvels, that being said, that was a bit polarizing, right? But it was bold. And I never saw it in a Marvel movie. You know what? Anything's possible if we're in the Marvel universe. Whether it be a little bit cheesy or something you don't agree with, it's possible. I mean, the Hulk exists in this. An Infinity Gauntlet that can erase half of all life exists. There's a musical planet out there in this one. Maybe even out in real. Look at all those stars out there. Tell me there's not a musical planet for sure. You can't say for sure. You have to give a 0.1%. There's always a chance. The ripple effect from the Marvels. Well, with the post-credits scene, it gave a huge X-Men tease. Huge X-Men tease with Monica ending up, spoiler alert, hit 30 seconds ahead if you don't want to know, in another universe that happened to be the X-Men universe, and it may be the main X-Men universe in which Deadpool and Wolverine are currently in. Yes. Just yes. So next we have What If Season 2, and both Season 2 and 3 kind of mix in my head because they dropped all at once. So I'm going to consider this What If Season 2 and 3 both occurred in Phase 5. I think both of them were released in the same way, day by day around Christmas time. Not a fan. I don't know a lot of people who covered that probably was a fan, but I stayed through it and covered every episode, at least of the third season, because I wasn't around for Season 2. So what I did was I did make an episode for Season 2, doing all the episodes. So if you want to listen, we have What If Season 1, 2, and 3, just differently formatted. So I think What If was a great show. I'm not going to talk about Season 3 when it comes chronologically. Maybe I'll just say that's when it happened. In my opinion, for both seasons, the animation remains top tier. The multiverse format is apparently wearing thin to people because it's just too complicated to general audiences, but it's wearing thin on people, so I guess I understand that. But the ripple effect, it still offers experimentation, but it's missing a bit of an emotional anchor like it had in the first season. That's the one thing I'll say. The story unifying everyone together in that first season of What If felt like an Avengers movie, and personally, I knew nothing was going to top it, because we thought it was a show that we were like, all different stories. Oh, cool. When it is that, but in the first season, it really was all these different stories, and then let's take a character from each story and make an Avengers movie. It's like, whoa, okay, this is awesome. So maybe I wish for a little bit more of like lead up to things like that. I think the second 2 seasons, especially like the last one, I think they had definitely bigger plans in between. I think they had the finale for season 3 like ready, most likely, or decided, maybe as the ending, even if it was going to be in like season 6 of the show. I'd like to hope that the show comes back after the multiverse saga, so it doesn't have to worry about having to bump into all the other projects that are also in the multiverse saga, when this could be like just a fun multiverse show down the line. I hope there's a demand for it, but if there isn't, the people have spoken. Next up, we had Echo. Now, this was a surprise. Gritty, grounded, and raw. And it also brought us back into the world of Kingpin and a small, wonderful, devilish cameo in the very beginning. Alaqua Cox, I always say her name wrong, Cox delivered. She was phenomenal. And I'm about ready to rewatch this show, because I watched it as it aired. And it was, I'm going to like literally say it was like 5 times more exciting and better than I thought it would be. Kingpin was always terrifying. He was big, and Daredevil Born Again season 1, he lost a bunch of weight. So it felt like phase 1 Daredevil again, like the first Daredevil, and that's a compliment. The culture, the Choctaw, and the magic, just a beautiful addition that I personally didn't expect. And the fight scenes, they hit hard. They do hit hard. The ripple effect from this show quietly reset the tone for street-level stories, and it deserved a lot more hype than it got, in my opinion. Number 9, one of the only releases of last year, Deadpool and Wolverine. This one blew the roof off. A multiversal comedy with heart and real stakes. The event level of this reminded me going into the theater with the crowd of like an Avengers movie. That's how hyped this was. And it definitely delivered. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they gave great performances. And, I'm not going to say especially Hugh Jackman. Ryan Reynolds was great, but it's just the fact that Wolverine is back. And somehow it just made everything feel new again. I'm going to be honest. It's the movie that ripped me out of my quiet, nervous, I can't record anymore state back to this podcast for nearly 100 episodes straight, longer than we've ever been going, 2 episodes a week. Deadpool and Wolverine, thank you for reigniting my passion for the MCU. Key takeaways it was meta, messy, and magnificent, and the TVA, perfect tie-ins. I love that they include the TVA in the movies. Especially felt like that MCU collab, because it's somewhere that we were in another series, and seeing that on screen with Deadpool, especially from a different point of view, very special. So the ripple effect officially merged Fox and MCU timelines. It's going to set fire to phase 6. And when we think Deadpool wants to be an Avenger and become an Avenger, part of me wonders, is he going to be fighting the Avengers via incursion with the other X-Men for a change? Because we'll see. He got rejected as an X-Men, and he wanted to be one. And he didn't get rejected as an X-Men per se, even though he kind of did, I think. But he got rejected by Jon Favreau of the Avengers. Not of the Avengers, but he was standing in for Tony. So that was a great scene at the beginning of Deadpool and Wolverine. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely watch it. I got to say, it's just a whole bundle of fun. I might just put it on right after this. All right, number 10, we have Agatha All Along. This was an underdog show. I had next to zero belief in it, and I was like, they could show us any other show or series, and they're showing us this right now? Why? Well, here's why. Catherine Hahn carried. The witches were fun. The tone, some would say it's all over the place, but for me, that's where the magic was. The shifts, the outfits, the whole theme and feel of the show. Personally, I had a blast, and that's really what matters. we got real Scarlet Witch lore expansion in this, and I think it's something. It leaned its head towards something hopefully inevitable, and that'd be the return of Wanda Maximoff. Aubrey Plaza as Lady Death, MVP. I hope we see her again, and I hope we see Wiccan again. And I don't want to spoil too much of the show, so go watch Agatha All Along if you haven't seen it, or maybe wait till Halloween season. That's when it came out, and I thought it was perfect for Halloween season. I think a rewatch is definitely in order for me. I hope there's a second season of this show, where we get to see more of Agatha and Wiccan, and some of the other witches, like Jennifer. This show definitely reopened the magical branch of the MCU, and it tied it in beautifully with WandaVision. So next we have What If Season 3, which we've talked about, and it was better than Season 2 in some ways. But to me, I remember them all in a similar light, 2 and 3. So I may need to rewatch them at some point. However, I think both Season 2 and 3 are equal in quality, actually. Even though I'm totally not speaking as much as the last Phase 4 review, it is taking longer than I expected, but not in a bad way. I mean, I'm not going to be like, blah, 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 rush. And we're going to talk a little bit about the projects. So Captain America, Brave New World. This was a big swing, and I think mixed reviews are still out there on it. Although around this Independence Day time on Disney Plus, the fact is that it's the most viewed movie for weeks since it came out. I think this movie is an underdog movie, and the biggest issue for me was the promotion. Too much given away out of insecurity in the freaking trailers about Red Hulk. Sam Wilson as Cap fighting Red Hulk. Such a cool fight. And honestly, in time, like let's say 2 years before we're going into Secret Wars or anything, whatever we're in by then, whatever they change, this movie I think can stand out as one of the cooler ones, especially with Red Hulk being the twist. If some can forget about that or ignore the title, I mean, without it, it's still a really great movie if you're a fan of the MCU and you like Sam Wilson as Falcon. I think he shows up as Captain America, and it has been predicted that he will be one of, if not the main POV of Avengers Doomsday. So let's hope he's okay and he makes it out alive. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I'm just worried about him and his non-super serum. Although his suit is so freaking cool. In this movie, his leadership, Sam Wilson's leadership shined. And the themes of legacy and nationalism were very heavy but timely. The ripple effect, it set the tone for grounded MCU again. Not flashy, but necessary. I realize it's not on my list, but I think this is right around where Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated series, takes place. It's not canon. It's not a must-watch. However, it is a line from our multiverse, and there are a lot of things in that show that parallel what happened in the MCU, but just from a different multiverse where different things happen to Spider-Man. Way better, way more deeply thought out, way more character-driven than I would have thought for an animated series, and I think it's sleeping. It's still sleeping among fans. I think it'll be picked up when the next season comes around. I think it's got a lot of potential. They could make like 5 to 10 seasons of this show, even if they wanted to, but we'll see what they do. I love season 1, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You are more than welcome to come back and make more episodes. I'll be covering them day 1. Then we have Daredevil Born Again. Oh my goodness. This is season 1. We know for sure we're getting a season 2. I predict especially that it will come back before Avengers Doomsday by next summer. That's my prediction. Matt Murdock is back. But the tone, it felt like real Daredevil again too. Gritty, Catholic guilt, courtroom drama, hallway fights. It's just exactly what we needed. Foggy and Karen, they got to come back. That's all I'll say. Fisk is more terrifying than ever. Something he does in the last episode of this season, it's so disgusting and maybe one of the grossest, graphic things I've seen in the MCU. So if you're watching this show, be ready for the last episode to be, just say, smushy. The ripple effect. I don't think I did the ripple effect at the beginning, but this cemented the street level world. Okay, it sets up the Thunderbolts perfectly. Not that there was Daredevil Born Again cameos or references in Thunderbolts, but it just kind of gets you in the mood, I'd say, for the movie. Speaking of such, we have Thunderbolts, aka the New Avengers. I feel like they went and after 2 or 3 days they did the title reveal of New Avengers and showed the world. Hence I did as well since they did it. But now it seems like they've rolled back and started titling it Thunderbolts again, so people that are just seeing it get that surprise. I think the reason they wanted to put the New Avengers title on it so fast was to bring in more people. That the fact that this was an Avengers movie, they wouldn't want to miss it. It was messy and chaotic, but brilliant in its own twisted way. I love the Thunderbolts. It's Marvel's Suicide Squad, but done better. Even though Suicide Squad 2 is really good. I really like that. I mean, I saw it once when it came out. It was good. But it has like a little more trauma than Suicide Squad because we know these characters from different walks of life. Yelena and Bucky, definitely the emotional core. Ghost got more screen time. I definitely went out of this movie liking her a lot more. The ripple effect, it feels like the dark inverse of Avengers. More like a dark Avengers. They could have gone with that name. But in theme of the show, they need to be known to the world at that point as the Avengers. Morally gray, but compelling. And I think the post-credit scene, it revealed so much. It says Sam has a group of Avengers that doesn't agree with the Thunderbolts becoming the new Avengers. So there's copyright issues in the world. And they see the Fantastic Four ship. We don't even see that movie yet. That movie is the next movie coming out where we're sitting today. So we know somehow something Fantastic Four related happens at that moment. I wonder if that was like a scene from Doomsday and we don't even know it yet. We will see. And finally, we have Ironheart. You'd think that the New Avengers / Thunderbolts was the end, but Ironheart on the TV end, it came in as the great finale for Phase 5. It took forever to get here as well, and it was sitting on the shelf for years, making me think this is an instant flop. But wow, the wait was worth it, and I was wrong. Riri's journey, Natalie's AI arc, the Hood's magic, the show balanced legacy, tech, and raw emotion so well. Riri is a star. I love her as Ironheart. I want more of her character. I want more seasons or a movie. Joe as Ezekiel Stane, terrifying. And that final suit reveal gave Iron Man 1 chills. Yes. I feel like this bridges between tech and magic. And that line that Thor said, where I come from, they're one and the same. I love that line. This is a great phase finale with real heart. And while you'd think Thunderbolts would be a big enough palate cleanser, Ironheart is that extra bit of dessert we get, food metaphors. And it was fantastic. Okay, so that was Phase 5. It was shorter than Phase 4 by a few projects, I believe. And it gives us a little bit of everything. Multiverse, magic, grounded crime, legacy heroes. And it wasn't perfect, but it mattered. And that's the lesson. Even when things feel disconnected, even when fans lose faith, there's still heart here, still purpose, still sparks of something bigger. And I'm looking forward to see what Phase 6 is going to be all about, starting with the Fantastic Four first steps. Personally, I believe in it. I've just seen Marvel hate spewing on Instagram and other social media platforms, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I like to have faith that the MCU is coming back in a big way. And I'm telling you this from the perspective of, I don't think it really went too far away to begin with. People just wanted every movie to be like Endgame, and now that we're finally getting to some culmination, it's gonna probably change the perception overall. They work hard on these movies, and everyone is a new chance for them to come back. I think they've done a great job so far this year, and Fantastic Four will be a testament and a definitely taste in our mouths left until Doomsday, so let's hope they do it right. I'm Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. Thank you for being here with me on this journey. Visit us at patreon.com/MarvelManiac. Become a member of the community. Be like Michael Finney. You could become a hero. We have 3 separate slots, and any of those will give you access to my mini-sodes that I release every Saturday. And I would love to see you there. Tip jar also in the About section. And also, I just want to say thank you for listening. If you like it, please share it with a friend, or even further, especially if you're on Apple, rate it 5 stars, give it a thumbs up. We need all the positive reviewing we can get so we can keep going, keep moving forward, and keep talking about Marvel. This was a blast. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.